I release a leaf and barrel shirt, and then I don't do a leaf and barrel for like a month or maybe 6 weeks. A little bit of a dick move. I mean, not really, it wasn't on purpose. And we're fixing it today. We're back, baby. We're back on the leaf and barrel train. Today, we're not doing a bourbon. We're not doing a whiskey of any nature. Today, we're actually going straight pirate style. We're going rum. We're gonna taste these 3 rums and see which one reigns supreme. Hello there, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Leaf and Barrel. If it's been so long you forgot what Leaf and Barrel is, or if you're new to the series, Leaf and Barrel is a series I do on the channel where on the barrel portion, we taste usually a whiskey of some nature, but really any spirit that's been barreled, I suppose, could fit, hence the barrel. Then on my second channel, we do the leaf portion, which is where we pair up a cigar with the fine spirit that we're sampling and see how things pair up. We talk about it. On the barrel portion of this week's video, we are doing rums. I wanted to do a rum because we're doing a rum barrel-aged cigar on the leaf portion, which led me to Diplomatico, which is a rum I'd had. It's a good sipping rum, pretty popular. But then I found out that that particular cigar is aged in Flor De Cana barrels, and that Flor De Cana was also, I don't know much about rum, so I was kind of learning this as I go. I thought, well, it'd be really cool to have Flor De Cana, which is the rum that the cigar was actually aged in. But then I was also introduced to FourSquare by my buddy Brian over at Privada, and also Jason from Mash and Drum. Man, that is a fantastic rum. So I couldn't make up my mind about what would be best, so I figured, why choose? Why don't we make this a 3 rum taste off to see which one of these rums is the superior rum, especially when pairing with a cigar. Let me just throw out a little caveat. I've been drinking whiskey for probably 20-25 years at this point. I'm originally from Kentucky and bourbon is huge up there. I'm not a huge rum guy. I'll be honest, prior to this and me wanting to test out some kind of sipping rums, I never really liked rum because my thoughts about rum was like Bacardi, and I don't really like Bacardi. I don't like mixed drinks, and Bacardi's really not worth a shit to drink straight, so I was like, on the rum. But then somebody pointed out, hey, rum is kind of the spirit that they drink most in the countries where cigars are made, right? Like whiskey is not, generally speaking, the native spirit of those countries. The guys that are blending and rolling these cigars generally are sipping on rum. Hell, that's a really good idea. Let me give rum another try. And that's when I got into this whole mess with learning about rum. So caveat, I'm not a rum expert. I don't know a ton about rum. I'm gonna tell you what I have learned over my brief experience with it, and we're gonna taste these and see which one's best. So the 3 rums we've got here today: Flor De Cana 18, FourSquare 2007, and this is Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva. These are very, very different rums. Something I learned that kind of bums me out a little bit about rums is rums don't have the same rules that bourbons and whiskeys do, right? So this says Flor De Cana 18 on the bottle, which would lend you to believe that that is an 18-year rum. Not true. From what I understand, that means that has an average age of 18 years. So that means you're gonna have some younger stuff in there, some older stuff. Who knows? Maybe they've got like a teaspoon of 18-year-old stuff in there and the rest of it's younger. There are no real rules or restrictions around it the way there is with whiskey. So you really don't know. It's not an age statement, which I think is a little shifty, but nevertheless, they're calling this an 18. The Flor De Cana is aged in ex-bourbon casks. It is a molasses-based rum. It is chill filtered, has no sugar added. It does have color added. Now, that's another interesting fact about a lot of rums that I found is, again, there's no real restrictions like there is with whiskey, so a lot of times they add a shit ton of sugar to some rums, and a lot of them, from what I understand, do have color added. The color thing doesn't really bum me out too bad. Some scotches have. Dalmore, famously, people get real offended about the fact that Dalmore has coloring. The coloring, I would prefer for it not to have it, but it doesn't bother me as much. Putting a bunch of sugar in there bums me out a little bit, and we'll talk about that when we get over to this guy. But this one does not have sugar added, so that's a good. It comes in at 40 ABV, and it is made in Nicaragua, which is really, really kind of cool, which is the same reason why probably Camacho ages their cigars in these barrels, because they're also Nicaraguan. Nicaragua, obviously a huge producer of cigars, so really cool to see a spirit that comes out of that country. So this is the Flor De Cana 18. One over, something very, very different. This is a barrel proof rum. This is the FourSquare 2007. This is also a molasses-based rum aged in ex-bourbon casks for 12 years with no sugar, no color, and bottled at cask strength. FourSquare is made in Barbados, and it comes in at a nice hefty 59% ABV. So this guy is not messing around. It is full test, serious business. Last, we have the one over here. This is the one on my far left, your right, probably. Left, right? Yeah, it'll be your right, my left. The Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva. Diplomatico is out of Venezuela. We're down in South America. This one is made from a sugar cane honey, which is a little different than molasses. It is aged up to 12 years in small oak barrels, pot stilled, 40% ABV. It is filtered, colored, and has sugar added. This is what kind of bummed me out a little bit about this one. This one has got a ton of sugar added. After doing some research, a lot of people are almost calling this like a borderline liqueur. It's got so much. I think there's like 40 grams of sugar per liter added to this. So, it's really good, and we'll get into that. But there is a lot of sugar and color and stuff added to this one. So you got kind of varying degrees across here, right? So you got the Flor De Cana, which is a little bit, it's got some color, but basically no sugar, basically good to go, made of molasses. You got the FourSquare, which is kind of your high end, full cask strength, no color, no filter, no nothing, just rum. And then you got your Diplomatico, which has got a lot of sugar, color, could almost be considered a liqueur. So very different things all across the spectrum here. Price wise, you're across the board here. Your Diplomatico is gonna be your cheapest, coming in at about $40, 35 to $40. Flor De Cana is gonna be about 50, maybe $40 to $50 range. FourSquare is gonna be your most expensive, ranging from probably 65 up to like 80 or 85 bucks for this one. So enough dilly-dally, let's get into tasting these bad boys. You know, rums are really different for me. I'm not super used to the rum flavors. It's very different, but kind of the same as bourbon. A lot of these are aged in oak barrels, which is very similar to bourbon. Hell, a lot of them are even ex-bourbon casks. So you definitely can get some of the same vibes. You get a little bit of oakiness. You definitely get like a sweet, sugary, I think more so than with bourbon, a very sweet kind of smell. Kind of like a brown sugar, hence molasses. I mean, that's what they're made with. You definitely pick up on that. But you do get a little bit of the oak like you get in bourbon. You get a little bit of the ethanol, get some of the alcohol smell. And I definitely get more citrus notes in rum than I usually get in bourbon. Some people get that in bourbon. I don't get that often in bourbon, but I do in this get kind of more of like an orange peel kind of, not like orange juice, kind of that sweet smell, but like orange peel mixed with like a brown sugar molasses. Maybe some like caramel or toffee. It smells very good. It definitely has some similar veins as bourbon does. I would say a little fruitier and sweeter. Give this bad boy a little go. Yeah, that's substantially sweeter than bourbon to me. Right up front, a lot of sweetness. Somebody who drinks a lot of rum or other spirits may feel differently about these, but coming from a guy who drinks a lot of bourbon and then even some scotch, stuff like Ardbeg, this stuff is very, very sweet. It's very good though. And this one doesn't have any sugar added. This is the Flor De Cana 18, so there's no sugar added to this one. It is made with molasses, so that makes sense. On the finish, you get a little bit of like an oaky, but it's very light. The more you get kind of this burnt caramel, toffee sweetness, a little bit of that citrus, orange peel, kind of bite right on the front with the sweetness, that brown sugar, might be a little vanilla hiding in there somewhere. This could be really good with a, we gotta watch how much I say the cigar word because I'm getting demonetized, but I can't wait until the next episode where we start pairing some of these guys up because I think that is gonna be really interesting with a cigar. Brown sugar, caramel, toffee, a little bit of citrus, going into a little bit of the oak bitterness, maybe a little vanilla, maybe a touch of like a cinnamon or a clove type situation, kind of right there on the back. And there is a little bit of like a barrel tannin kind of thing right there on the end, kind of in the back of the tongue. There's a little bit of a bitter, kind of a barrel flavor. Not bad, but it's there. 80 proof, goes down very, very smooth. No issues there. Let's go to this one next because once we go to this, I feel like, so we're skipping over the middle guy, which is the FourSquare, and we're going to the Diplomatico. Yeah, I didn't notice the first time I had this stuff, but now kind of, I might start doing this format more often because now kind of having this right next to this, that smells like a butterscotch candy. Not like Werther's or something, but like, the little yellow butterscotch jobs that like your grandma used to have, or like, what I'm talking about, the yellow butterscotch hard candies. Man, that smells a lot like that. It's also got like a overripe fruit note, like a really dark overripe fruit. I can't put my finger on what kind of fruit. It's not like fruit specific. It's not banana. It's not anything like that. I'm not really getting any oak or anything on this one. It's just all butterscotch, dark ripe fruit. Very, very sweet. But this is the one that's 40 ABV and has a bunch of sugar added. So that's probably why. You could tell there's color on this one because this dude is dark. Wow. Yeah, you could tell that one's got some sugar in it. And you could tell by the mouthfeel. Very viscous, very thick. I can see why some people say this is a borderline liqueur. I mean, it's nice. It feels great. Has exceptional mouthfeel, as the guys from It's Bourbon Night say.
Exquisite mouthfeel.
It's not unpleasant at all. It's a shame that there has to be a bunch of sugar added to get there, but it's very viscous, very thick, very velvety, very sweet. I'm not really getting much wood on this one at all. I know it's aged in oak barrels, but I'm not getting a ton of wood.
That's what she said.
I'm getting on the palate exactly what I get on the nose of this one. Toffee, caramel, some dark fruits. On the very end there, after everything's gone, I get a little bit of, maybe a little bit of an oaky flavor, but it's a very toasted oak. It's not like a bitter oak. It's kind of burnt marshmallow kind of thing, along with just a little bit of oak. So maybe if you ate a burnt marshmallow off of like an oak stave, maybe that's a good explanation. Caramel, toffee, candied, all sweet, molassesy, with like a little bit of a marshmallowy, oaky kind of finish. That's what I got, right or wrong. It is what it is. Now last, we got our, and again, that one was 80, so really easy drinker. I could definitely see where if you're not big into harsh liquors or cask strength whiskeys or Islay scotches, if you like the softer, easier drinking, sweeter side of things, this thing would be great. And it is very desserty and it's nice. It just kind of bums me out about the sugar added thing. Sweetness level, this is like out of 10, this is like a 6.5 or 7 on the sweet. This is like a 9. I mean, sweet. Here is our FourSquare. Now, this one is the big boy, our 59% ABV or something like that. Now see that's very different than the other two. This one got a little bit of the oak like you would get in a bourbon. Got a little vanilla in there. You definitely get some of the caramel sweetness, very similar to what you would get in a whiskey. I'm getting a little citrus in this one, like I did in the first one. I don't know, maybe a little tobacco. I don't know, there's another little bit of an earthy kind of smell in there that I can't put my finger on. Let's get the old palate ready for some cask strength, a little barrel proof business. Yep, can definitely tell that dude's cask strength. Full of flavor. Very drinkable neat though. Not at all harsh or aggressive. For some people it may be harsh or aggressive, but if you're used to drinking higher proof bourbons, you're gonna think that goes down very nicely. I try to do my best to pull these flavors out, but I'm not, judging spirit competitions or anything. I bet you if you put this down in a flight of bourbons and you told me this was a finished bourbon with the nose and the flavor, I don't know that I would call you a liar.
You a goddamn liar.
I think you could fool me into thinking it. There's a lot of similarity. That 12 years in ex-bourbon casks, I think, have really imparted a ton of bourbon flavor on this one. Not near as sweet as either one of these. Good mouthfeel, oily, really saturates. Oily, but still a little dry. Not like unpleasant, astringent, like dry your mouth out, but compared to these two, much drier. It's got that oak flavor in there, almost like a honey sweetness in this one, more than molasses flavor. A little less like a brown sugar and more like a honey sweetness to me in this one. I get a little bit of the citrus in it, caramel, all that kind of thing. Some of the orange peel. It finishes with a nice, sweet, oaky cinnamon, clove. There's like a little bit of like a clove spicy kind of thing. I know I probably just repeated myself 3 times, but those are the flavors I'm getting. There's a little bit of black pepper in there somewhere because I kind of get a little bit of spiciness that goes beyond like clove or cinnamon. It's almost like a little bit of a black peppery bite. It's really nice though because it's kind of a little drying in the mouth, but it's got some oiliness that kind of, and sweetness kind of counteracts that. And then it's got a little bit of that spiciness, but again, the sweetness. That is a damn fine rum. That is really, really nice. A little bit of that orange peel. I almost want to say there's a little bit of like a tropical kind of coconutty kind of flavor that comes in every now and then, kind of just whiffs by real lightly and quickly. I don't know if you've ever really tried to pull flavors out of spirits before, but sometimes they just cruise by super quick and you're like, wait, was that? I think that was a little, wait. And you have a hard time really grabbing hold of it, but I think I'm getting little bits of coconut every now and then. Very nice. I think it's gonna go really, really well over here. Definitely my favorite of the 3. Second is the Flor De Cana. Third is the Diplomatico. I like the Diplomatico, don't get me wrong. And like I said, if you like sweeter spirits, if you like cream and sugar in your coffee and you're not into like really harsh flavors and you kind of like those kind of things, I think, or you're just in the mood for something sweet like a dessert type beverage, this guy, super easy to drink, super sweet. I would imagine it would be fantastic on the rocks. It would just be like a super sugar mixed drink kind of situation on the rocks. To me, the Flor De Cana kind of bridges the gap between these two, right? So it's It's not as clawingly sweet as the Diplomatico is, but not as kind of robust and woody and strong flavors as the FourSquare. It has the advantage of not having sugar added, so if that bums you out, then this is probably your next best bet with getting something nice and sweet and easy sipper without any sugar added. You guys are a lot of bourbon and scotch drinkers out there, because you guys, that's normally what I do on this channel. I'm gonna bet that if you guys being bourbon and scotch drinkers, this dude's here is gonna be your favorite. This one's good, but it's probably gonna be a little too sweet for a lot of you guys. This one is also good. I think though, this one, I'm telling you, at cask strength, this thing's a little special. I'm just gonna say that. It's a little special. It's got a little something to it. That's how I'm ranking these just alone. Once we get over to the next episode, we'll see what happens when we start pairing things up. But FourSquare, first place. Flor De Cana, second place. Diplomatico, third place. And I don't mean to sound like I'm taking a shit on Diplomatico. It's good. It's pretty sweet, which some people are really gonna like, but that might be a little off-putting for some people. Like I said, if I had to pick, FourSquare's my dude. I really like it. I think they do a damn fine job on the bottle. Actually, all three of these, the bottles look cool. This one has like a cool dark green, almost looks black with like this cool print of a guy's face. It almost looks like money kind of style of art on the front of it. The FourSquare just looks like a bougie bottle of rum. It's got this thick linen paper kind of label with a gold rim and has all the stats on the front, which I really like. And the Flor De Cana has a really cool shaped bottle. It's different. It's got a really nice cap on it. It's got some sugarcane kind of embossed in the bottle, which looks really nice. So all three really good looking bottles. All three pretty damn good rums, really. But again, FourSquare takes it for me. Call me bougie if you want to. I don't care. That's the best one. And most of you guys being whiskey drinkers, I bet you're damn gonna agree with me on that one. If you were into seeing a deeper dive and pairing these guys up with a little something, we're gonna go right over to the leaf portion of this week's Leaf and Barrel after that. So if that's something you're interested, click on over. I'll put a link here at the end of the video and also down below. If you're not into that kind of thing, I completely understand. Glad you stopped by to at least hang out and drink a little rum with us today. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. It's the first one we've done in a little while. I'll try not to go like months in between going from here on out. If you did, feel free to smash that like button. That always helps us out. If you're not a subscriber, please consider doing so. We'd love to have you on board. I hope everyone is having a fantastic week, and we will see you in the next video, or we'll see you over at the leaf portion of the barrel. No pressure though. Don't feel like you have to go. Dadgum barrel strength stuff. That'll get you serious business. Definitely not batch recording a bunch of these. I have to drink 3 of these bad boys. I don't see how some of you guys on these whiskey channels do flights of like 5 and 6 damn whiskeys. Oof, Lord.